What's good with y'all boys, man? Real game official, man. We back with another lit banger, man. Shout out to BTM Basketball Time Machine, man. And once again, let me shout out to the Real Mind Crime for the video idea, man. BTM got another banger, man. He one of the top. He the method, man. He one of the methods when it comes to LeBron James exposed content. You see what I'm saying? He got could LeBron James retirement make the NBA fun again, man. So we're gonna go ahead and check this video out. It was 12 minutes long. Let me show his channel. Y'all go subscribe to him. I'm gonna subscribe to him right now because we react to a lot of his content. Turn notifications on. We do everything live. You see what I'm saying? So without further ado, man, let's get into this video.
Hey guys, what's good? Welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. My name is Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school NBA basketball. Now, for the past couple of years, and I know for those of you who follow the show on a regular basis, you know the frustration has grown bigger and bigger with the current NBA. And even though I always try to be a positive person, sometimes, like today, it is hard to be that kind of a positive person. Anyway, in today's episode, I will discuss if the hopefully soon coming retirement of LeBron James will have a positive effect on the NBA and hopefully make the NBA interesting again for us old school fans. This is what I'm going to discuss. But before we start, if you like the content, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I would say, come on, man, let's get down to it. Now, how do I want to start? Now, let's go back and see when was the NBA, at least in my opinion, still watchable. I think I have to go back to the early 2000s. So where were we? Now, the dominance of the Chicago Bulls was over. Michael Jordan came back, played for the Washington Wizards, and there was a transition going on. The big superstars of our 80s, 90s generation, like Charles Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, John Stockton, Karl Malone, those guys were slowly fading out. And even though you still had guys hanging around like a Gary Payton, like a Karl Malone, and they were still doing their thing, but obviously they were not as big anymore as they used to be. And there was a generation change starting. You had the young guns of the late 90s becoming the faces of the NBA. We were talking about Dirk Nowitzki, Allen Iverson. You had Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and those guys. And of course, like in any generation when there is a change, it is a bit different. But those guys were, I think, at least
about them legends,
a solid.
Man. We had Steve Francis. It was loaded in the early 2000s. Steve Francis, Baron Davises of the world. Who was other good players? It was so many. Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, Yao Ming, AI. Man, it's so many players. It's players I'm forgetting about that was like that. Grant Hill. Yeah, I could go on and on. It was loaded back then. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all, bro. That's why, like, it was different teams winning like every other year after Shaq and them had they run.
I don't want to say replacement.
Pistons. Oh my God, I'm just that's making me think about the early 2000s when I was young, like when I was a kid.
But it was all right. It was all right. And Shaq was still doing well, even though he was not in his prime anymore. He was still one of the most dominant players in the NBA. And it was okay for me as an NBA fan. I could still watch it. I was still enjoying even the super team of the Los Angeles Lakers that failed with Gary Payton, Kobe Bryant,
I forgot
Shaq.
They did have a super team. It just didn't work. It wasn't really a super team though, like how people were saying it though. That's why we ain't react to that yet. But I feel like I'm gonna do a video on that. Cause like Gary Payton was old, Karl Malone was old. They was past their primes. They was washed. So I don't really count that. I don't think people count that though in general against Kobe and them.
And Karl Malone, I was still enjoying that. Why? Because the opposing team was the Detroit Pistons, who really defended. They were a team. Not sensational as individual players, but a great team and hard defense, fundamentally sound basketball. I could still enjoy that even though my hero Michael Jordan had retired. I was cool with that. So then in, I think it was 2003, you have the next generation coming in. You have LeBron James, you have Carmelo Anthony, Darko Milicic, yes, that was also happening, and Dwayne Wade and those guys. And at first, while I was still watching it, I had no bad feelings towards them. I mean, I knew of the hype that LeBron James was creating when he was coming into the NBA. He was considered to be the sensational high school phenomenon. I was cool with that because the same, to me, not the same, it was less. But when Kobe came into the NBA, there was also a big hype, this high school play and everything, and I was cool with that. So, what happened then? In 2004, 2005, the handshaking rule. Yeah, it's... What can I say? It's a big change. It is a big change. No matter how you want to see it, it does something to the NBA. Now, the idea was, okay, let's make the game more interesting for the fans. Let's have it more open. Let's have more scoring and everything. And I can't blame David Stern to think that way, because how would you know if you don't give it a try? So I can understand, even though I also feel that at a certain point, if you see that it has negative effects, you should go back, but that's a different story. So the game becomes more family friendly. The players, the older generation of people who were still playing in the 80s and 90s when the game was really physical, those guys are fading out and the game is changing in a big way. Then what happens? LeBron James becomes the face of the NBA. And all the negative things, the big negative things, they are not visible in the early stages of his career. They're happening the older he gets, which is kind of fascinating to me. I think because in 2003 and 2004 and 2005, because you still had those older folks there and the NBA was still physical, that LeBron had adapted and he was thinking, okay, the game's like that, he had to play like that. But once he became the face of the NBA and those guys were moving out, suddenly you have the flopping, suddenly you have the traveling fundamental, the respect to the game in playing fundamentally sound. LeBron James was capable of doing that in his early stages. He still used to travel every once in a while, but not as often as now. The whining did not happen back then when he was younger. And then you have the changing teams and everything. And the problem is, because the face of the NBA is giving those bad examples, what happens? The younger generation who is idolizing those players and LeBron James, they think that it's all right and they think that that's normal. Why? Because if the greatest player does it, it's normal, it's okay. So he influences in a very bad way the entire next generation that steps in. Now, is he the only one to blame? No. Guys like Steph Curry, and believe me, no disrespect to this guy. I think he's a phenomenal basketball player, the greatest shooter of all time. And it's not his fault that because of the way he approaches the game, that it had a bad influence on the NBA. I think it's more the fault of the coaches who let their players try to play the same way as a Steph Curry, not realizing that this is something special and not everybody should try to do that. So you have guys like LeBron, Steph Curry, and other players who give bad examples, bad coaching in the youth department, bad coaching in the NBA, bad refereeing, etc. It destroys the entire product. It destroys the entire product. And to me personally, I think in 2005, 2006, it started. Then it got worse when in 2014, Adam Silver took over. And the guy, as nice of a person I first believed that this guy was or is, and he still might be, I don't know this guy, so I don't want to judge him as a private person. But as a commissioner, I think the guy is terrible. And my explanation is pretty simple. If you have a great fan base for your products, which evidently our generation has been, I mean, we were the ones who also helped to make the game become global and this huge brand in the 90s, how can your aim as a commissioner not be to still keep those fans happy too?
Right.
Why do you only focus on the younger folks, neglecting the guys who helped to make the product big? To me, that is stupid. If you see that the product is not doing well right now, obviously you have made mistakes. But is it that hard to come to a conclusion that if you are losing the fundamentals, the base of hardcore fans from back in the days, that your product is not doing as well as it could? I mean, you don't have to be a magician to understand that. So anyway, let me get back to the LeBron James point. Now, he's close to retiring. And look, I don't want to be a hater. And I still don't consider myself a hater. Why? Because I kept my mouth shut for like 15 years. 10 of them being super pissed, still keeping my mouth shut. And I had the platforms. So why do I think that LeBron James's retirement will not do any good for the NBA? Because the NBA, the product is messed up already, and I don't see any changes in the near future. You have an entire generation of young kids coming in, and it's not even their fault, receiving bad examples of what the NBA is looking like. And obviously, you can only perform what you've learned. So this is the result of, bad leadership for being the face of the NBA. And yes, LeBron James helped the NBA to grow. And yes, as a young player, I also thought he was a great player. I honestly thought so. Even though I always was a Jordan fan, I respected LeBron James when he was a young kid because, hey, if you are that good, you have worked here behind off to become that of a great player. So respect where respect is due. But since then, not so much. You know what's really frustrating? I don't know who of you guys can actually relate to that. When I go out to play basketball now in a gym, and I play with guys who are like 15 years younger than I am, so in their early 20s, and they're like super tall, it's so hard to play with those guys. I have this all the time. They don't want to go underneath the basket. It's like, oh, we're always playing 5 out because the tall dudes, they want to shoot threes. How can it be that I, as a point guard, get more rebounds as big guys?
Right.
And I can't jump high. I'm not the most athletic guy anymore. But I understand, like, okay, you got to go to the boards and actually grab a rebound. Those tall guys.
That's how the new NBA is. Everybody want to be a point guard. Like, everybody want to be a shooting guard. Everybody want to be everybody just want to shoot nowadays. Like, shoot threes. Get all fancy and ISO. Everybody want to just ISO. That's what I'm trying to say. Let me get to the point. Everybody just want to ISO. It don't matter if you're a center, power forward. Everybody wants to they want to get busy and ISO. What happened to the fundamentals like BTM is saying? What happened to the big man getting down and dirty in the paint? You see what I'm saying? In the trenches. What happened to that? See what I'm saying? Or calling for the ball on the post-ups. It's a little bit, but it ain't like it was back then. What's up? What's up with the new NBA, bro?
That's only one, and I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of the young kids,
most of them,
they only want to stay outside the lane and shoot threes. And it's no fun to play that way. It always frustrates me like crazy. Anyway,
it's not real ball.
Do I hope LeBron James will retire soon? Yes, I do. Why? Because I don't want to see him play anymore. Just as a fan, to me, he has disrespected the game too much in so many years. The whole situation with, taking his son, who's definitely not ready for the NBA to play on an NBA team, taking the easy route again. LeBron James changing teams to win championships, taking the easy route again. Yep. There's so many things about him that rubbed me the wrong way. I don't want to see this guy anymore. And yes, I watch the NBA every once in a while. I don't watch it much anymore because I can't. I don't want to. But I just don't want to see this guy anymore. And there are some guys that I still respect in the NBA, but they're just not that many. And I give respect to those guys. I give respect to guys like Jimmy Butler, who at least try to play hard for a long time. Giannis, give a lot of respect to you for trying to approach the game the right way. And there are some guys, just not as many. Anyway, you guys, sometimes I need this because I also am frustrated. And I know a lot of you guys feel the same way too. So anyway, you guys, have a great day. Talk to you soon. See you next time on the Basketball Time Machine.
Shout out to BTM, basketball time machine, man. Shout out to him. And I want, honestly, I agree with him, bro. I agree with a lot of his points, bro. I want the old NBA back. I do believe that Bron do need to retire. He's not, like, unless it's a super team or he go join the Mavericks. That's still not guaranteed though. I don't think it's a chip, so I don't think it's anything else to play for unless you just trying to play with Bryce. You already done played with Bronny a little bit. I mean, if you trying to play with Bryce, that's cool. That's legendary. You can play with your son. That is legendary. I'm not gonna lie and hate. But I mean, as far as like you going up in the into the top 5 or top 10, I don't think that's possible, bro. I'm sorry. We don't went down a rabbit hole the whole summer, bro. It's nothing you really could do at this point. I mean, if you win a championship with the team you got with the Lakers, I mean, maybe like 1 or 2 spots you might move up, maybe, but you still got Luca. So it is what it is, though. But until the next video, though, I'm out.